is very wrong in Hollywood right now, and the silence is so loud that it's starting to sound like a confession. Because when the Epstein files exploded across the internet, when names started surfacing, when headlines started burning through reputations like wildfire, late-night television suddenly developed a very selective sense of humor. They joked about politicians. They joked about billionaires. They joked about the royal family. They joked about everyone, except one name that kept appearing in documents, one name that nobody on late-night TV would say out loud: Ellen DeGeneres. And the question is not just why her name appeared. The real question is why the most powerful comedians in television all decided at the exact same time to pretend they didn't see it.
You know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
How Ellen DeGeneres is even more deeply involved than we've ever known, and even Twitch in his passing.
For weeks, people watched this strange silence play out like a scripted performance. Night after night, monologues were written, jokes were delivered, audiences laughed, but there was this invisible line nobody would cross. And that's when people started asking questions. Not small questions, big ones, dangerous ones. Because Ellen wasn't just another celebrity. She was one of the most protected figures in entertainment for years. The Be Kind image, the daytime queen, the untouchable brand. But behind that brand, there were already cracks, serious cracks. And those cracks didn't start with Epstein. They started years earlier when former employees began talking about what it was really like behind the scenes. Fear, control, silence. That was the word that kept coming up. Silence. Then something else happened. Something that, at the time, looked like a rich celebrity making a life decision. But now it looks different. Now it looks like timing. Very precise timing.
Situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually and everyone, whoa,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of... He was like, she's a monster.
At first, people brushed it off. Celebrities move all the time. Rich people buy new houses like normal people buy new phones. But then the timeline started to bother people. Because when you line up the dates, when you really look closely, the move doesn't look random anymore. It looks strategic. It looks calculated. And suddenly, people started whispering the word that nobody in Hollywood likes to hear: foreknowledge. 3 months, just 3 months before the biggest Epstein document release in history, Ellen leaves California, sells the mansion, relocates to the English countryside, far away from Hollywood, far away from the media machine, far away from the cameras. And maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it is, but in Hollywood, coincidences make people nervous. And this coincidence made a lot of people very nervous. Because if it wasn't random, then it means someone knew something. And if someone knew something, then the silence from late-night TV starts to look very different. It doesn't look like coincidence anymore. It looks like strategy. And this is where the story starts getting uncomfortable. Because this isn't the first time the industry went quiet when Ellen was in trouble. Back in 2020, when the workplace scandal exploded, it was the same pattern. At first, whispers, then stories, then former employees speaking out, and suddenly the Be Kind empire didn't look so kind anymore. That scandal destroyed the show's reputation. Ratings collapsed. The show ended. And Ellen disappeared from the spotlight. Not loudly, quietly, very quietly. And that's important, because powerful people don't fall the way normal people fall. They don't fall in public. They fall in slow motion, behind the scenes, where most people can't see it happening. Then the Epstein files dropped, and the internet did what the internet always does. It went hunting. People wanted answers. They wanted proof. They wanted something shocking, something undeniable, something that would explain why certain names kept appearing around Epstein for years without consequences. But here's where the story takes a strange turn, because the internet found things that were not true, and those things spread faster than the truth ever could. Code words, secret messages, wild theories, and suddenly the story became so crazy that normal people stopped paying attention altogether. And that may have been the point. Because when a story becomes too crazy, people stop looking at the parts parts that are real. So now the situation becomes very strange, because on one side, you have confirmation that Ellen's name appears in documents, but not in a criminal charge. On the other side, you have fake audio, AI-generated voices, viral lies spreading everywhere, truth mixed with lies, facts mixed with fiction. And when that happens, the result is always the same: confusion. And confusion protects powerful people better than silence ever could. Because when people don't know what's real, they give up trying to figure it out. But the silence from late-night TV, that part is real. That part you can see with your own eyes. Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers. Night after night, joke after joke, topic after topic, but not this one. Never this one. And that's when people started asking a different question. Not is Ellen guilty, but why is nobody allowed to talk about Ellen? And that's a very different question, because that question leads somewhere bigger, somewhere darker, somewhere Hollywood really doesn't want people looking. When Conan O'Brien started talking about censorship, people didn't pay enough attention, but maybe they should have, because he basically admitted that late-night hosts are not as free as people think. There are topics they can joke about, and there are topics they cannot touch. And if that's true, then the silence around Ellen is not a coincidence. It's a decision. A decision made somewhere behind the scenes, in rooms the public never sees, by people whose names are not on TV shows, but on contracts, network deals, and legal documents. And once you understand that, the story stops being just about Ellen DeGeneres. It becomes about the entire system, the same system that protected Harvey Weinstein for decades, the same system that ignored R. Kelly for years, the same system that stayed silent when rumors about powerful men kept surfacing again and again and again until it was too big to hide anymore. Because that's the real pattern here. Not guilt, not innocence, silence, delay, protection, distraction. And then, when the story becomes impossible to control, only then does the industry finally turn on the person it once protected. So now the question is very simple and very uncomfortable. Are late-night hosts silent because there is nothing to say, or because there is too much to say and they are not allowed to say it? Because silence like this doesn't happen by accident. Silence like this is organized. Silence like this is enforced. And silence like this usually means one thing in Hollywood: someone very powerful is being protected. And the more you look at this story, the more the timeline starts to feel like a puzzle where the pieces don't want to fit unless you turn them a different way. Because Ellen didn't just quietly retire and disappear. She didn't just move to a random place. She moved far away, to a private estate, to another country, just months before one of the biggest document releases connected to Epstein. And again, maybe that's coincidence. But people in Hollywood don't believe in coincidences. They believe in information. Who knows what? Who hears what? Who gets warned? Who gets time to prepare before the public finds out? And what makes this even stranger is how the media handled it. Because normally, when a celebrity makes a sudden move like that, the media digs, they investigate, they ask questions. But this time, the coverage was soft, very soft. It was presented like a lifestyle change, like a peaceful new chapter, like a celebrity looking for privacy and fresh air. No urgency, no suspicion, no pressure, just acceptance. And that's unusual when you're talking about someone as famous as Ellen DeGeneres. But what really made people suspicious wasn't just the move. It wasn't just the documents. It was the pattern. Because people started noticing that whenever a powerful figure gets connected to something dark in Hollywood, the same thing always happens. First, silence. Then, distractions. Then, fact-checkers focusing only on the most extreme claims. Then, the story slowly fades away until the public moves on to the next scandal. It's like a formula, a very effective formula. Look at history. Harvey Weinstein, rumors for years, silence from the industry. R. Kelly, allegations for decades, silence from the industry. Jeffrey Epstein, connections to powerful people for years, silence from the industry. There is always silence first. And silence is not nothing. Silence is a strategy. And this is where late-night television becomes very important, because late-night hosts are not just comedians. They are part of the media machine. They decide which scandals become jokes and which scandals disappear. And jokes are powerful. People underestimate jokes. But jokes tell the audience what is safe to talk about. If late-night hosts joke about something, it becomes public conversation. If they ignore something, it disappears from mainstream conversation. So when every late-night host jokes about Epstein but avoids one specific name connected connected to Epstein, that's not random. That's a message, a very clear message. That name is off limits. Now think about the position those hosts are in. They work for massive networks. Those networks have advertisers. Those advertisers have corporate relationships. Those corporate relationships connect to studios, agencies, production companies, billionaires, political figures. It's a web. A very small web, actually. Hollywood looks big from the outside, but from the inside, it's a small circle of very powerful people who all know each other, work with each other, and protect each other when necessary. So if a topic threatens that circle, it doesn't get joked about. It doesn't get investigated on comedy shows. It becomes invisible. And that brings us back to the most uncomfortable part of this entire story, the noise. Because whenever this story starts getting attention, something crazy appears. Fake audio, wild conspiracy theories, absurd claims that sound like movie plots. And once those enter the conversation, the entire topic becomes radioactive. Normal people don't want to touch it because they don't want to sound crazy. Journalists don't want to touch it because they don't want to risk their careers on something surrounded by misinformation. And just like that, the real questions never get answered. It's actually a very effective tactic. Flood the conversation with nonsense so that the truth becomes impossible to find. Because when everything sounds insane, nothing gets investigated. And right now, what we are seeing is not noise. It's not coincidence. It's not random. It's a pattern, a very familiar pattern. A powerful name appears in a dangerous story. The media goes quiet. The internet goes crazy with fake information. The real story gets buried. And the public is left arguing about things that don't matter, while the important questions are never asked. So the real question isn't just about Ellen DeGeneres anymore. The real question is about the silence. Because silence can tell you more than words ever will. Silence shows you where the line is. Silence shows you who is protected. Silence shows you who the industry is afraid of. And the fact that some of the most powerful voices in television, people who built careers mocking the powerful, suddenly don't want to say one specific name tells you everything you need to know about how power really works in Hollywood. The story is still unfolding. More documents may come. More names may appear. Or maybe nothing will happen at all, and the silence will continue, and the story will slowly disappear like so many stories before it. But one thing is certain. When an entire industry refuses to say a name, that silence is not meaningless. That silence is the story.